The Bad Boys are back in the box office.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? And that's the best, and that's next Miss Nose. Hey, dude, you gotta learn the words. We usually only do the chorus.
With the fourth installment to this franchise, but will it ride or will it die? Let's discuss. What is going on, everybody? It's I, yours truly, the Ace, here with my review to Bad Boys Ride or Die. Before I get started, this movie should have been called Bad Boys for Life. Easy layup on the marketing. It's the fourth movie. With that being said, join me down below in the comment section and let me know which one of the four is your favorite. And stick around to the end where I give you my quick ranking of all four Bad Boys movies. Without further ado, let's get into it. In my opinion, this is everything that you could ask for from a summer blockbuster. It's fun, funny, over the top, action-packed with these two good actors that continue to work well with each other, just like they did in the first three movies. I'm a big fan of this Bad Boys franchise. Wasn't the biggest fan of Bad Boys for Life, so when I found out they were coming out with this, I was a little bit cautious, but I was pleasantly surprised leaving the theater with how good it was and how good of a time I had. And like I said, it is a great kickstart to the summer. We go to these movies for two things: the action and the actors, and both are on full display throughout this entire film. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are right back where they left off in the previous three. Their chemistry, banter, they are definitely a dynamic duo every time they are on screen together. Will Smith is Mike Lowry, the action-packed, trigger-happy one.
Trigger Mike strikes again.
Martin Lawrence is Marcus Burnett, the over-the-top, super emotional one.
Just relax.
These two are just so great in these roles, and what this movie does, it adds more layers to these already established characters that we already know. It adds a sense of awareness, vulnerability, enlightenment that we have not previously seen in the other movies. I really love the dynamic switch between these two characters, how they've come to the realization that they're not getting any younger. They're not as invincible as they once thought, and it plays perfectly throughout the course of this movie, and it allows these actors to display more range that we haven't seen before. The character of Marcus, after a near-death experience, becomes the more enlightened, fearless one as he gets this sense of invulnerability that he carries throughout the course of this film. On the other hand, you have Mike Lowry, who is normally the fearless one, but after getting married, after Captain Howard's death as well, after finding out he had his son in the previous movie, he becomes the timid one as he starts dealing with PTSD issues, which it was great to incorporate for his character. Love how he was ultimately able to overcome that towards the end of the movie. But like I said, the character dynamic switch just added more layers to these characters that we already knew, and it made for such a great part of the film. All right, now let's talk about the action sequences, which I thought were very well done. Very, very well done. They traded the big explosion spectacles that is Michael Bay for more of a creative cinematic approach to their sequences. How they had the drone shots, you got to really see that incorporated. The camera harness that was used to shoot more of a first-person video game look, I thought that that was very, very creative, and it just really immersed you in the action. And this is what we go to these movies for. They're very action-packed. So if you're not going to have the huge, big explosions, you need to do something that's very, very creative. And in my opinion, they absolutely nailed it. This movie had one of the best action sequences from such an unlikely source. Not going to give away any spoilers, but once you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. What a redemption for one of the side characters. That was a jaw-dropping moment that actually had people throughout my theater clapping. It was such a good payoff to a character that we know and has been so memed, and it was just so good to see him get his due, and very creative, and it was well done. It didn't feel forced at all, and that is not just one of the best action sequences in this movie. It's probably one of the best action sequences in this franchise. When you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said, people were actually clapping in my theater, and it was just such a great payoff. They also had a lot of great callbacks that just added to the excitement throughout the course of this film. It would not be a Bad Boys movie unless they did the tandem slow motion stand up scene that is so synonymous to this franchise. I would have been really upset if they didn't do it, and they nailed it to perfection. From a plot standpoint, this movie was okay. We don't really go to these movies for some big intricate plot, just kind of make it make sense, and for the most part it did. I like how they incorporated Captain Howard in this movie because he's just as synonymous as Mike and Marcus throughout these films. The plot is you're trying to clear his name. It just was very predictable. The execution was okay. The villain was very predictable. If within the first 15, 20 minutes, you already knew who it was. Wasn't some huge mystery. Would have liked it if they were able to, just add a little bit more to it to make it a little more intriguing. Also, the cameos themselves were solid. Love how they had Joyner Lucas in here. But DJ Khaled, did he really need to be in this film? The role that he had was so unbelievable, not in a good way, meaning I did not believe it at all for the role that he was in, especially the way he held a gun. I'm just like, this was terrible. And I was laughing throughout the course of the film. Also, last point, and this is kind of a nitpick. I like how they incorporated a lot of the side characters from the previous two movies, but it would have been better. Two of my favorite characters, Sanchez and Ruiz, got killed off screen. Would have made it a little bit better if they would have incorporated them in a small part of the plot, because they had just as much of a relationship with Captain Howard as Mike and Marcus. A scene of Mike and Marcus going to them and saying, hey, can you point us in the right direction? Having a little bit of banter. That would have just added a little bit on top of it as well. All that stuff right there. Like I said, the plot, the funny cameo of DJ Khaled, and, the off-screen death of two characters that were hilarious, just kind of put it in the mix section for me. The thing I didn't like about this movie, not a big fan of the shaky cam type action sequences that are kind of shot in widescreen format. I understand they're trying to get you to immerse in this universe and kind of feel like the action and what is going on. But to me, it has a hard time, for me to follow along because it's so much going on with it shaking, and it's hard to really focus on, what is actually going on, especially when it's cutting a lot. And at times the action sequences along with this movie do lack focus, especially when they do try to go into like certain sequences that we have not seen from the previous films with like the Marcus character. Like it's kind of just out of nowhere, and it kind of just doesn't feel right because we've never seen it before throughout any other three films. So that to me is just kind of what added to what I didn't enjoy. Also, very forgettable villain in my opinion. He just didn't leave his stamp on this film like in Bad Boys 2 with Johnny Tapia. Very predictable, but very forgettable. I don't really even know his name. They could have did a better job at establishing him and making it more of a mystery. I know I put that in the mix section, but it's just something that definitely was one of the worst parts of this film. Now, as far as my ranking and where I would rank this as far as the Bad Boys franchise, I would put this over For Life. Probably go Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Bad Boys for Life. The first two are just so iconic. To me, number 2 is definitely the best one. You had a villain that left his stamp, incredible action sequences, big time Michael Bay spectacle. Like I said, these two are absolutely amazing. Bad Boys is iconic, a good start to the franchise as well. This one is a good addition, but Bad Boys for Life, it just didn't stick with me. It's not something I thought was very rewatchable. So like I said, if I had to rank them, I'd go Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Bad Boys for Life. What's your ranking? Put it down in the comment section. Before I get out of here, I want to give a special shout out to each and every member of the Ace Avenue. Your support means the world to me. I really mean that. And you guys are Ride or Die. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun, action-packed, and a great kickstart to the summer blockbusters. I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10, a great addition to the Bad Boys franchise, and a must-see in the theaters, in my opinion. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. As always, thank you for tuning in to the Ace Avenue. I am yours truly, the Ace. Adios.